Hi guys, Ash here from the Goodison Blues. Apologies, I haven't been able to do too many of these videos. Just getting around to trying to get the podcast itself sorted out as well. But as you can see in the title, it's been a bad start. We did have that cup win during midweek. It's deadline day as we speak. Very interesting to see what's going to happen the next couple of hours in regards to comings and goings. We know Neil Mopay is obviously pretty much on his way out. He's made his feelings very well known since then, and I think he's off to Paris. Then we have possibly an incoming Mangala. Then we have to wonder what's going to happen with Dominic Calvert-Lewin. My feelings on that is what's going to happen is around 9 o'clock, 10 p.m. today, one of the teams is going to come in. They're going to take Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and we're going to be left high and dry without being able to get a replacement, which means we'll be left with Beto and Chimiti when he comes back from his operation, and they will be our strike force for this season. And of course, we have Bournemouth tomorrow, 3 o'clock. Can we get our first points of the season? So yeah, it wasn't the greatest a start. After the 2 games, no points, no goals scored, 7 goals conceded. Did we think this was going to happen so quickly to the season? No, I didn't think so. I was thinking that possibly, they were difficult games. Don't get me wrong. Brighton are a good side. We knew what was going to happen at Spurs. We don't seem to have a very, very good record against Spurs away from home, albeit it was a couple of seasons ago when Dominic Calvert-Lewin got a winner there in the opening game of the season, actually. But with that comes the at least from my point of view, even after that first game, I was Dyche out. Even right now, as you speak, I'm still Dyche out. I just don't think he's the man for the job. Albeit, again, that was a phrase. He did put out a side that we were expecting to see the players to start against against Doncaster on Tuesday evening. But then you'll see what will probably happen tomorrow. Seamus Coleman will probably start instead of Dixon at right back. I think he should be starting this game. I know they gave Seamus the start against Doncaster, obviously getting his fitness levels up. But I think after what the performance that Dixon did put in, one of the very, very few positives from the Tottenham game, I think Dixon should start. Be interesting to see what they do in the centre of defence, where he goes with James Tarkowski, which I believe he's fit and ready to play again on Saturday. And then does he go with Jake O'Brien or does he go with Michael Keane? The old saying goes, he'll probably go with his own reliable and he's going to go with Michael Keane. Hopefully that is not the case. Does Lindstrom get a start? I thought he was very scared, very scared of himself, not throw himself around, not to get involved. Again, he did have the assist for the goal for Tim to score, or if you want to call it Dwight McNeil to get he puts the shot off his leg and goes into the back of the net and made it 1-0. And then with that game, we continued on and wins 3-0. So Ndai, for me, definitely has to start over the Curry. Will he do that? And these are all the questions going to be answered. And an hour before kickoff, we're going to see that team sheet come out, and we're going to be looking for specific names to be on that starting lineup. And we'll all be annoyed if they're not on it. That's the problem. He just doesn't. He does what the Dyche way, what Dyche wants to do, and I don't think we're going to have players. If by any miraculous reason we have players come in this window today, I don't think they're going to be registered in time and so forth to be able to start tomorrow anyway. So the likes of he's talking about in his press conference yesterday that Mangala is hopefully flying over to see. I think it's a low move. So that's another midfielder. But we are seriously lacking in the left back and right back. I thought this whole story with Kieran Trippier, a lot of people were against it because he's 33 years of age. Me personally, I would take him hands down, especially if it's just a loan deal. And if we got a good deal on his wages, I would definitely take him for the season. But I'm really worried now at left back because obviously Mikalenko, again, he had a decent enough game against Doncaster on Tuesday. Actually, he had a good. I think he had he was the assist. I think it was he got the pass in for Beto to get the third goal. So it's rare that he has had assists since he's been at the club. So hopefully he's keep himself on form and keep himself fit for the season, because if he goes down, we don't have anyone with the exception of Ashley Young. And we've said it before and we'll say it again. Do you really want him playing in those positions? I certainly don't. He came on against Doncaster on Tuesday night and within minutes he was already booked. So the man is a liability and should not be as far as I'm concerned, should not be playing anymore. I think he's had his time in the highlight of the most leagues, and at this point in his career, he should be the Championship, League One, possibly, maybe in another top league in one of the other major countries. Maybe he might still have something to give there. But I think as for the Premier League, no, I think his time has come and gone. Maybe I'm wrong. You can let me know in the comments how you feel about that. Another player that you can't imagine, he's going to be in the squad tomorrow if he doesn't get moved out today. That's going to be Mason Holgate. Again, when you see our substitutes, you don't want to see these players that are not going to be given any time. Of all those kind of excess players that we have that you don't expect to get any time, but one that you'll probably hold on to because you don't have any other numbers, is probably Michael Keane. And obviously, whenever we're losing a game or you're drawing a game and you want to go for that win, there's always that shout of put Michael Keane up top with Beto or put him up top with DCL, and he can, we've seen him score against Spurs, and he can be in that position to get a header from a set piece, that sort of thing. And that's all well and good, but as a defender, that's all well and good. If you want to risk James Tarkowski or Jared Brantway whenever he comes back, hopefully as soon as that international break is over, he's ready to jump back into the side, and Jake O'Brien hopefully will keep on working very hard to get himself back into the side. Coming on to the transfer window day, I know just touching it briefly, I don't see anything really happening. I've watched it coming home from work this morning. I watched the bits and bobs, and Chelsea have missed out on a striker who has now changed his mind. Instead of going to Chelsea for a medical, he's now going off to Saudi Arabia, and the same team. I think it's Albai or something like that. I probably butchered that name, so apologies. They've also put in a 40 million bid, I believe, for Ivan Toney. So does he go for the two strikers, or has this other guy let him down? Well, that means then the rumor that Chelsea and Arsenal were interested in Dominic Calvert-Lewin, that might reinvigorate their interest in our striker. Now the problem is, if he goes, do we have the time? And does that money, whatever the fee is, to be invested to get them back into the club? Now, as I said earlier, right at the start of the show, I think it'd be something like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. It's going to go that Dominic Calvert-Lewin is seen at such and such or seen at such and such, and it's going to be this. And then not only will we not have enough time to replace him, it could be worst case scenario. He ends up going out on loan. Can you imagine? Because if we're going to, he's not going to sign the contract. It looks pure day. He's not going to sign that contract. Let's move him on. Let's get him out of the club. He hasn't done well in the first couple of games. He hasn't shown much of an interest and not much wanting to get involved. And if that is the case, especially with tomorrow, I would imagine you think Beto is going to start, because obviously we're all thinking that Beto will start. No point start putting Dominic Calvert-Lewin into the side if we expect him not to be at the club by the end of today. And if that is the case, Beto's going to be a main striker. But who do we get to bring in to replace him? I really, really don't know. That's a really difficult question. I haven't heard any names of any transfer rumors of potential strikers coming in. I know for a while we were looking at Callum Wilson from Newcastle. That seems to have died up. If Newcastle were to come back in and want to show their interest in Dominic Calvert-Lewin, does that mean that could we possibly strike a deal between the cash and Callum Wilson deal? I'm not Callum Wilson's biggest fan. He only seems he does score goals, don't get me wrong, but he seems to score a lot against us over recent seasons. But could he offer more goals than Dominic Calvert-Lewin if we get the ball to his feet? I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin, as we all know, can hold up the ball well, but then it's up to our players on both sides of the tree to be able to get in and to assist them. And for whatever reason, whether it's pace, they're just not good enough, or they're not making any efforts, or like you have Dwight McNeil, when he comes in on his left foot, if he gets turned onto his right, he completely turns and hits the ball back to the centre backs. So, and he's done that in a number of occasions in the first two games, and that's not going to work with the likes of Dominic Calvert-Lewin. You need to get the ball into the box, into his head, for him to create those chances for himself. So, does that work with Callum Wilson? Possibly. Does Callum Wilson want to join Everton Football Club. That's another thing. The state of the club that we're in at the moment, it's very, very difficult to bring in players. It's not that like unless you want to come in for the season and take yourselves and hopefully that you're going to move into the new season at Bramley-Moore next season as an Everton player. That is quite welcoming, but is it will be in the Premier League or is it going to be in the Championship? And that's where the fear is for a lot of players. In Dye, hopefully, it's going to work out. He's going to continue as he's done before. Obviously, Jake O'Brien needs more time to bet himself into the side and get himself some game time in the Premier League. And obviously, Lindstrom, it's a hard one to call with him. There's a lot of mixed reaction with him, especially when he played in that behind the doors game, and everyone said he was absolutely rubbish. I didn't get to see that game, so I won't comment too much on it. But if he can get the ball into the box like he did for Tim's goal, but then the more the merrier. I think he did more in the Doncaster game than what Harrison did when he came on. So in that respect, maybe it's looking up. If we can get ourselves comfortable in certain games, so you go 2-0 up against Bournemouth tomorrow, then you bring on Lindstrom, you give them more freedom, give them more time, and to try and do something a bit better. But tomorrow's game is very, very important. We really need to pull up the socks and get moving in this league. We can't keep going any further with another defeat. There was a nice cheer at the end of the game, eventually when we won 3-0. But if the unthinkable happens tomorrow, we're all going to start losing our minds again, including myself. I said right at this very moment, as I look at the watch, we are at 10:21 a.m. on a Friday. I am still in the Dyche camp, even if we win tomorrow. But if he allows our players to express themselves more, you might, kind of say, okay, let's just forget the Dyche manner and just sticking to the Dyche way, because the Dyche way doesn't matter, is not working. Hitting the ball over the top. Pickford hits it long to try and find Dwight McNeil. Pickford hits it long, or James Tarkowski hits it long to find Lindstrom or to find Harrison on the right-hand side. It doesn't work. All the other teams they're onto that now. They know how it works. And not only if 9 times out of 10 the ball fails to get to our players because it's been cleared, the one time that it does get there, those two guys, Harrison or McNeil, don't do anything with it. So there's a null effect there, or what's a Joy would say in Friends, it's a moo point. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't help us at all. So we need to get the ball on the ground more and play it on the ground more, and that's where Tim comes in. Tim has been absolutely brilliant as far as I'm concerned. He's been a bright light since he came in, and he's shown that he wants to run with the ball. Even in Dye, that amazing turn that he had to score his first goal at Goodison the other day. Brilliant, amazing turn, takes on the 2 players, beats them, and slots it. And everyone thought he was going to slot it into the far corner. He did have the new post and did it brilliantly. Keeper didn't know what hit him. Absolutely brilliant. So we need these players to kick on, and now the rest of them need to do it. If anyone is familiar from the 1980s, there was a movie called Iron Eagle. And it was kind of like a rip-off of Top Gun in a way. It came out in the same year, if I remember correctly. And there's a scene in it where the guy, he's a young teenager whose father has been shot down in the air. And he recruits this retired captain. And he's training to fly in an F-16 to show him what he can do, because they're going to sneak into this place and free the father. And obviously when he's flying, he loves to play music, especially there's a music from Queen is heavily involved in this movie. But he tells him to turn off the music, okay? And he's not able to. He misses all the targets. And he's, you can't go in shooting like this. And the guy's name is Chappie. And the guy says, Chappie, damn it, I'm doing it my way. Puts back on the mask, switches on the music, and goes in and shoots down everything left, right, and centre. And this is what the players need to turn around to Dyche. When things aren't going away, say it's half time tomorrow and you're losing 1-0, and Dyche is saying, we need to do this, we need to do that. Lads, it's okay, we'll get there. More work. The team need to stand together and say, damn it, Dyche, we're doing it our way. And they get out there in the pitch and do it their way. And because the Dyche system is not working. He picked the right team, but if you watch the game the Spurs game and then go back and watch the Doncaster game, it was much different because the ball was played on the ground much, much more. I don't know whether Dyche insisted on that, or was it the players themselves insisted on it? Because Dice is quite animated in that game, and it's like as you have to say, okay, we're doing well, but you're not doing it the way I want you to do it. So the team may have turned around and said, lads, we're going to do this our way, and that's just the end of it. A scoreline for tomorrow. I'm more confident than I would have thought I would have been because of what happened on Tuesday. I'll take a swig, sorry, dry lips. So I'm going to go with a 2-0 win. And I think if Ndai starts, he gets the goal. And I would absolutely love it if Beto gets the second goal and goes with 2-0. That's my thoughts of what's going to happen tomorrow. So, yeah, bad start, good cup win. And now hopefully tomorrow, 3 o'clock kickoff at Goodison Park, we will finish with our first 3 points of the season. Guys, anyone going in, don't forget River Bar on the keys there. The big, massive Heineken sign. You can't miss it. Home of Goodison Blues will be live there to watch the game tomorrow at 3 o'clock. So until then, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you very soon. And hopefully 3 points tomorrow. Up the Toffees.